We're about to get it underway. Michael Thompson has the air horn in his hand. That's Sereni up high. And closer to your screen was McConnell. And out they go. And already Sophie Colwell, she just has fantastic starts and gets clear water straight away no matter where she chooses on the pontoon. But she's already a length ahead, and they're only 25 metres into this race.
She's incredible. Her and Beau Grant off the start are without question the fastest women in the world. And Katie Zaferis on the far right there in the red jersey, the red runner's jersey, has moved up and was able to get that clear water and get around the riffraff and get right in the mix.
I was swimming in the harbour the other day and didn't realise that Caldwell was on my feet. Had a little break, looked up, and Caldwell was 20 metres ahead of me. Like, sometimes you think, these guys actually going fast for people that are watching this for real, but I can tell you I was swimming my heart out, and Sophie Caldwell went past me like she had an outboard motor on, and she just talked to me on the way past. These guys are amazing athletes.
Phenomenal swimmer. Sophie Caldwell is a phenomenal swimmer. When it comes to speed, 300 metres, I think she's one of the best relay swimmers in that mixed teams relay racing for the Great Britain in the world. I think it'd be a tragedy not to have her on that Olympic team. If any Great Britain selectors are listening, she is built for this style of racing, and her starts and her ability to ride so strong and run so solid is spectacular. And Katie Zaferis, the true professional she is, would know that. She would be expecting her to set the pace. She slots straight into second position with Rachel Klammer sitting in there very, very comfortably as well. Taylor Spivey a little bit further back.
So Sophie Caldwell is at the moment leading this one as they head to the halfway point of this swim. And behind her in the red jersey is Katie Zaferis, knowing that the best place to be is on Sophie Caldwell's feet. And then further back is Rachel Klammer. So all three of our jersey winners are leading the way, and it's already stretched out nicely as a group at the back there take a little bit of a wider line.
The pace is on.
It really is on.
Yeah, when you're in single file like that, it looks a lot quicker than the first semi-final, and it's Sophie Caldwell has thrown caution to the wind and said, let's put the hammer down, let's get the break. And it's good to see. It's very, very good to see Rachel Klammer, who was a little bit concerned about her ribs. She came in with some issues with her costals under the ribs. And if she was going to have any problems, it was going to be in the swim, but she looks to be right there and in front of Taylor Spivey, which is big.
Yeah, Brad Beer, our physio, said that he has been working on Rachel across the course of the week, and said she's improved with each day, and that although she can feel the pain from the injury that she sustained it from coughing in the night.
Yeah.
And just woke up in the morning on, I want to say Wednesday morning, a little bit upset. Yeah. And there you go, on the outside there is Malotzi.
She's in 5th position in the white jersey.
Yeah, in the white. Champion. So currently in 5th behind Caldwell, Zaferis, Klammer in the green there. And also, who's that alongside Klammer?
I think it's Taylor Spivey.
Coming up, yeah, Taylor Spivey, I think you're correct. So out of the water first is Sophie Caldwell, then Katie Zaferis, followed by Spivey, who's overtaken Klammer there on the exit of the swim. And behind them is, Malotzi.
She's the only one who's already raced.
Sereni. My apologies.
Oh, it is too.
It is?
It is too.
So a good start from Sereni, one of the two Italians who finished in the top 3 in the junior racing. And there she goes, number 65. 68 there is McConnell. So Malotzi hasn't had a good start to this one. In fact, she's down in last position, just behind Kerry Morris. McConnell and Sereni. There is Morris.
Kerry Morris needs to use her bike strength on this course to move up if she needs to stay in the hunt, because that powerhouse group up front now are some of the biggest hitters in women's triathlon right now, and they are going to be gone unless those gaps are closed in these early bike courses.
Caldwell, Zaferis, Klammer, Spivey, and Zane are your top 5. And it does look like there's a little bit more pace in this one than there was last time out.
A lot more pace.
And Katie Zaferis takes control, as she has done every time we've called a women's race in Malta. Katie Zaferis has been on the front, and there's already a group of 5 who are disappearing into the distance from Sereni, McConnell, Malotzi, and Kerry Morris, who's the last of our professional athletes in this one. And the time to look at is Angelica Olmo in a 38.18. But that's a long way from where we are right now. But a gap of 5, and Bianca Sereni is looking to cross that gap.
Which is a big ask. When you've got Katie Zafarias on the front and Sophie Caldwell, two front runners that love to set tempo, love to set pace, this group will disappear very, very quickly. Taylor Spivey needs to move up a little bit. She's very good in and out of these corners, but I don't like the little gap she opens because Katie is so strong on these flat sections. You suddenly look up and you're 3, 4, 5 bike lengths behind and suddenly you've been dropped from the group. It's a danger position to be when Katie's in this mood of racing.
Yeah, and she doesn't like to wear the red. It's almost off-putting seeing her in the red after calling so many races of her in the pink. She's in the red at the front, and that is the quickest runner from Jersey. Quickest swimmer is Colwell. The quickest biker is Clammer, and they're all at the front of this race, with Taylor Spivey and Ilaria Zane behind.
The juniors.
And there is Sereni and Malozzi. So Malozzi has pushed up on Sereni now and wants to get into that 6th position and wants to look at Angelica Olmo's time of 38.18. But it does look like, at least at the front, this is a faster heat. Sometimes looking back and seeing and watching semi-final A whilst you're warming up, whether they choose to do that or not, they'll be looking at that time. And once times are posted, there's the feeling to go out a bit harder and make sure that they stay under that time.
Yeah, a bit more urgency, and I think you've also got a bigger group of more tightly congested talent-wise athletes in this semi-final. So they realise by working together they can establish a group of 5 early. So why not work strong in this opening swim, bike, run section, set up that 5, and we can coast later. It's what happens later in the race it's going to actually take away some of that, I guess, some of the energy for tomorrow's event. So if you can get out early, set a tempo, establish that position, it makes for the racing a lot easier.
What will be interesting to see if Ilaria Zane, who was eliminated before the final run in semi-final A in Jersey, the 27-year-old, can hang on to the back of this group if they do indeed stay as a group. And we'll see just how... That was a wide line taken there by Rachel Clammer. And we'll see how much they are indeed pushing the pace. So Clammer will like the way this is playing out. Of course, she's nursing that injury. She wants to create a group of 5 or less that have a good gap on the chasing pack, so she doesn't have to push herself too much to make it into the racing tomorrow and give herself 24 hours extra to enjoy a recovery.
And looking at the swim splits, we're expecting Sophie Caldwell to potentially take out Taylor Spivey's swim record. She didn't do that on this course, which was interesting. It shows how quick Taylor Spivey was last year over this swim course. But she swam magnificently again. Taylor Spivey, she's in this group of 4, and maybe she saves that for tomorrow's final. It doesn't matter chasing records in semi-finals. What matters is being in that top 5 to secure the spot for the final. And
I would be surprised if that swim record got taken out in a semi-final.
Yeah, agreed.
Of 9.
You are chasing with Caldwell in the blue jersey. I was expecting you to have to set a tempo to secure those jersey points to keep that jersey hunt in place.
Yeah, we should explain that it's a accumulation across the season. So each day's racing has 5 points, a maximum of 5 points on offer for each of the 3 disciplines.
Yes.
So 5 if you're the quickest swimmer in the first leg of the swim, 5 if you're the quickest biker in the first leg of the bike, and 5 for the run as well. And those points accumulate a little bit like the yellow jersey or the polka dot jersey in the Tour de France. Whoever is in the lead at the current point of the season will wear the jersey with $10,000 on the line at the end for whoever holds it.
And a series point. So at the end,
a series point indeed,
which could come into a lot of value if you're looking for those contracts. And it's the first discipline in each of the semi-finals. The first time you do any of the disciplines was where those points accumulate, and in the final tomorrow. So that's why you see those races to be first out of the water or first off the bike or the fastest time on the bike or the fastest run, and where athletes are pushing to accumulate those points because there's big dollars on the line.
And you see guys like, I spoke to Aidan Longcroft-Harris at breakfast the other day, and his main concern is to make sure that no one steals his swim jersey from him because he's enjoying wearing the blue. He wants to obviously make the final, because if you make the final, you get a second chance at those points. So you miss out on that. Other people are accumulating points for those splits that you aren't.
Looks like Kerry Morris is moving up slowly at the back. Whether she's moving up quickly enough, we'll see. But Zane is not renowned for her power running. Well, she hasn't been renowned for her power running in Super League racing. It's unfair to say she's not a great runner because she's done some great things on the WTS circuit and the World Cup circuit. But we've yet to see her unleash that speed in Super League racing. So
she's having a good time just tacked onto the back of this group, though.
She's in a perfect spot.
Absolutely is. And if Kerry Morris is going to find a way into the final tomorrow, following her countrywoman Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, then she needs to get past our 2 juniors as well. Bianca Serrani and Beatrice Malozzi, who have been so closely matched in the junior racing and are now right with each other behind this group of 5 in 6th and 7th position. So Morris has to overcome them first.
Agreed. And she's moving up on them now. And to give these juniors some credit, of all the athletes racing, they're the only ones who have already raced this morning. So not only do they lack the experience, they've actually got a race in their legs. So they're doing a remarkable job, and they seem to be enjoying themselves.
Yeah, there's no doubt they are doing a remarkable job. We saw Simon Henseleit from Germany do the same thing in Jersey 3 weeks ago, and he qualified by the barest of margins into the final. Didn't take up that final spot in the end. He's got a very interesting story, Simon Henseleit, and we'll bring that to you as the men's race unfolds a little bit later on. But it is possible to race as a junior and then in the afternoon race and qualify in the pro ranks and find yourself in a championship race in Super League Triathlon, and that's what Bianca Serrani and Beatrice Malozzi will be looking to do. As into transition first comes Rachel Klammer. Looks like a solid transition from her. A little stumble, but it's okay.
Very good by Klammer. Very good transition. She's gone. And her fiance, Richard Murray, did this exact thing last year in the final and was able to take out Vincent Louis with a huge transition. So I'm sure they had a few words about how important that is. I think there's too big a gap here. I don't think any of these athletes are going to move up on that top 5. They've done all the work early, and I think this will be established. So,
well, Zane is putting in some big work to try and stay with that group. She knows the longer she can stay with them, the more the gap is going to be. And there goes Malozzi, the world junior champion. That's
Great
right.
runner, a fantastic runner. And Zane knows that. She knows she has to stay close to this top 5. This is the longest of the runs because they run past the finish line and back down to transition. So it's actually closer to 2 kilometres as opposed to the mile. So it's the most important run in this format.
So from having an injury and almost not making it into racing this weekend, Rachel Klammer is off the front and looking for the short shoot. She had a win in Jersey in her semi-final 3 weeks ago. The first win, the first time she's tasted the tape in Super League Triathlon after finishing in the top 5 for 6 of the previous 7 races. She finally got the win, and she enjoyed every minute of the last 400 metres of that run because there was no one even close to her. Obviously, comes in carrying an injury she sustained earlier this week, but it doesn't look like it's hurting her too much. Katie Zafiris, who looks exactly the same whether she's in the red zone or not, is just eating up this mountain, as is Sophie Colwell in 3rd position ahead of Taylor Spivey. But you never can tell what's going on with Katie Zafiris, can you?
She'd be an amazing poker player. She just slowly tightens the screws, and as you said, you don't know whether she looks identical, whether she's at full speed or relaxing, and she'll eat into, I think she'll eat into the lead here. She needs that short shoot. She didn't get the short shoot in Jersey. She knows how important it is to have, and I think she wants it, which will be very, very interesting because I think there's a lot of aggression in the racing of Rachel Klammer. She's really come of age this season. We didn't get to see her shine in Jersey when they eliminated the bike ride. She did shine anyway as a swim runner. But I think she'll be in better form here with the bike ride. She works this downhill on the run magnificently. Her transitions have been spot on. And who knows? She could take that elusive win she's been chasing in a championship round.
Well, I do hope so. And down the hill comes Klammer, and we've seen it. We saw it last year. If you try and measure your run down the hill, other people who are willing to throw caution to the wind and really work the joints will get away from you. And I think all of these athletes, well, Klammer's been here before. Colwell hasn't. Colwell looks like she's in a bit of distress, actually.
But I think Katie's been smart. She thought, look, if anyone's going to swim me back up onto Rachel, she's not the biggest swimmer here. It's Sophie Colwell. I'll just sit back here. I'm in a safe position, and this power swim group can help close that gap. But because she just seems to switch off there on that descent.
I think Kerry Morris and Erin McConnell will
danger.
starting to be in a little bit of danger from the 90-second rule, as Beatrice Malozzi still puts in the hard yards. And Clammer comes through transition the first time, looking very, very solid. No hint of that injury in the cadence and turnover of Rachel Clammer. Zane still clinging on to that group, but the rubber band, the running rubber band anyway, is starting to stretch a little bit.
Taylor's just moving past Sophie Caldwell, and Ilaria Zane now starting to struggle a little bit. Not looking as good as she did on that opening.
Oh, I'd love to see Malozzi just start to track down Ilaria Zane as the sort of the present and the future of the Italian team for that last 5th spot. Let's hope it comes down to it, at least for the sake of great racing. But both of them very, very quality athletes in different stages of their career. Zane still has plenty of great years ahead of her. She's only 27 years of age, but Malozzi is only 19. So sitting in second position is Zefiris, and she'll be looking to see if Rachel Clammer can keep up her speed on the run, but she looks solid. She's got a chest up, head back. She looks like she's keeping a very strong cadence and powering up that hill.
Looks magnificent. She looks
really
very, very controlled, and Katie hasn't really closed. Even though we say Katie doesn't ever look like she's moving quicker or slower, she does like to lead, and she does like to close these gaps, and she hasn't moved up. She's measuring her effort. She knows we still have another swim bike run to go. The interesting thing for Zane will be with Sophie Caldwell, who's a big swimmer. Zane not as strong in the water as Sophie Caldwell. If that gap opens up and Sophie's able to swim across to Taylor Spivey, it'll isolate Azaria Zane off that group of 5, and can Malozzi close that and take that 5th spot. Isolation now is what's dangerous for these athletes, being on your own when there's a group up front, because you've got to do all the work yourself then, and it makes it more difficult or a lot easier for the groups behind who are together to potentially close that gap and put you in danger of being not eliminated, but put you in danger of not securing that spot and having to rely on times to qualify for the final.
Well, the only place it's good to be on your own is in Rachel Clammer's place.
Yeah.
And as far out on your own as you can possibly get. Malozzi digging deep, having already raced this morning, is looking for another gear to close down the gap on Ilaria Zane. So 3 athletes eliminated in the opening semi-final, 6 go through. Therefore, if you can stay ahead of the yellow flag of Michael Thompson and finish this race, you will race tomorrow. There's 9 athletes still in the race, and 6 only 6 avoided elimination. And there is Morris.
She needs to push. I'm not sure if she's aware of that, but you're 100% right. If she can get to the finish line, she does not look comfortable at all.
Doesn't look comfortable.
She's run a lot better than this in the past, and she needs to stay out of that elimination zone, because if she can get there, and she's in a lot of pain.
She was eliminated 3rd in her semi-final, which is a bigger semi-final in terms of athletes in Jersey, 31 years old. Great story, though. Only turned professional a couple of years ago. Only started triathlon 4 years ago. Was a swimmer growing up. And does a lot of long-distance racing. And there is Erin McConnell in 9th position, who is feeling the pain of already racing today. Can't say enough about how gutsy these athletes are to take on the very best in the world, whilst the very best in the world have spent the entire morning preparing for this exact moment.
Textbook transition again by Rachel Clammer. That was remarkable. Very fast indeed. And this is where Ilaria Zane is in danger. She needs, Sophie Caldwell being the biggest swimmer in this group, will move past or set a tempo in this next group of 2 behind, with Taylor Spivey just in front of her. And that will isolate Ilaria Zane.
Azalea. Is that what you're going for? Ilaria Zane.
Ilaria Zane. And that could be a problem. She has to swim her heart out in this first 100 metres to try and at least get some of that forward momentum water or that disrupted water of Sophie Caldwell off her feet, and at least be able to get up on a Spivey, who is also, as we know, the fastest swimmer to ever swim on this course. So you've got some big swimmers in front, and there's the danger woman right there, the junior world champion.
All right, there is the gap between Zane hanging on to the back of that group of 5 and Malozzi as they battle away for that last qualifying spot. There's Sereni, who's all on her own, ahead of Morris and McConnell, who may just find themselves on the back end of the 90-second rule. But into the water goes Bianca Sereni, the 19-year-old.
She's in danger of that 90-second post this swim because the front women are going around that first swim, boy. It's about 120 metres in. And now Kerry survived, which is fantastic. She'll hit the water.
Malozzi currently around 25 seconds down on Zane. So she needs to eat that up in this triathlon, which is very, very possible. Zane, though, having a good swim to try and hang on to the back of Colwell there. She's really putting in the hard yards, and we'll see where her conditioning is at the back end of this sprint enduro. And Katie Zafiris has closed the gap. She looked coming into the water very solid, but a measured effort, and she's going to take the lead of this one as Rachel Klammer. Well, she knows right now, Katie Zafiris, that she needs to come in tomorrow, and if it comes into a head-to-head shootout with Cassandra Beaugrand, she needs a short shoot in the back pocket as well.
And that's what she's swimming for right now. She made a concerted effort in that swim, and McConnell's been eliminated at 90 seconds. She made a concerted effort in that swim to close the gap. You know, Rachel Klammer, fantastic transition, a little quicker than Katie, but that gap was closed within 200 metres, and now Katie's applying that pressure to build that gap of the two women behind. It'd be nice for her and Rachel Klammer to be away. Then she only has to deal with Rachel, one person on the run, instead of having to deal with two. But I think she's 100% thinking, I need this short shoot and I'm going to take it.
There's McConnell talking with Joe Kubizniak, who is in charge of our youth and junior racing. And there is plenty who turn out for those races, and they've been happening all morning. And Erin McConnell just happy to be involved in a race of this calibre, and another step in her inevitable ascent during her career. Still very young, of course.
And Ilaria Zane has had a magnificent swim. She's staying very, very close, and she's worked that swim, had that open water, that clear water to chase Sophie Corbell, who's opted to sit on Taylor Spivey instead of going round Spivey and leaving that extra body length, and that's put Zane back into this swim, which has saved her from that isolation. So fantastic.
Still a smart move, though, from Colwell, who knows that she just has to stay there or thereabouts, and she will qualify, and she probably knows that she doesn't have the pace in the legs to take the short shoot from one of these two athletes we're seeing on screen right now coming in off their second swim. So 4 laps on the bike and 1.5 laps on the run to go. And that will wrap up our semi-finals for the women. And Cassandra Beaugrand, first in our championship, took the short shoot in the win in semi-final A. Katie Zafiris, second in the championship, fighting for the short shoot with Rachel Klammer, third in our championship. So the very best are doing it once again. Sophie Caldwell, who sits 7th. A good swim, and Spivey hung on, and Ilaria Zane to hang on the back. We didn't think maybe that was going to happen, but she's proven us wrong. Great transition from Zafiris, comes out ahead of Klammer. In come the following 3, and Zane looks good to put one hand on this 5th position now.
Great swim. Fantastic swim. That was a swim for her life. She's a great swimmer. She stayed in the hunt. I think Taylor Spivey swam better in that second swim than she did in the first swim. I think that clearer water for Taylor. She's able to find a stroke. We saw her in the equaliser TT last year, which was a swim TT. She set the fastest swim of all the women. I think she swims better in these pursuit or these non-mass start swims, and she had the best swim of the day so far, I thought.
Bit of a stumble out of water for Sereni, who's overtaken Malozzi, the pair of Italian juniors. So Sereni's found another gear there, and Malozzi really put in some hard yards early on.
They need to work together to now stay away from this 90-second elimination rule, because if Katie puts the hammer down in any way here to distance herself or to chase that as she's doing right now, that puts them in danger of being at 90 seconds behind her, the race leader. And
to an extent, you'd say that their chances of going through to the final are in some way affected by the decision, whatever decision these two make.
Exactly. It's 100%
because
what's
if they can make it to the end, they will be in. If they get eliminated, it's a question of where they got eliminated, and we'll crunch the numbers and bring to you who will progress. Our data team working overtime, and I say team, it's just one guy, but he's got the mind of a genius. He can crunch the numbers super quickly, and Kerry Morris,
she's very close.
Got to be close.
Now. Very, very close.
Got to be close. She'll be watching one eye on Michael Thompson, and she'll see that yellow flag. So Kerry Morris is the second eliminated and our first professional eliminated. The Australian begins the long walk back to recovery. Take her revenge by getting the best snacks. You're there first. But unfortunate for Kerry Morris, as at the front, Katie Zafiris and Rachel Klammer do what they have to do.
It just seems like a much more up-tempo semi-final than the first one, and Katie never looks like she's pushing ever, but that she always sets this tempo that's uncomfortable and slowly bites. Sophie Corbell's moved past Taylor Spivey. She's enjoying this course, Sophie Corbell. You heard her in the interviews before. She didn't know what to expect. She said, "Oh, ask me in 40 minutes." I think she really likes this course. She's loving the bike section. She's moving up on some of the two powerhouse women in the field. She's swimming magnificently, and she's about to put herself into the final.
Well, of this group of 5, the only 2 that have ever had a taste of this that were here last year were Klammer and Zafiris. The 3 behind them, this is the first time they've attacked the mountain here in Malta.
Yep.
As Colwell bridges across.
Spivey raced it last year.
Did she though?
Yeah, she did.
She did the Malta and Mallorca double. Maybe it's Jersey that she didn't race last year.
She didn't race Jersey.
My mistake. My mistake.
She won the TT swim here last year.
Ah, correct.
And
in fact, I just said that about 10 minutes ago. There you go.
But look at Sophie Corbell.
Memory of a goldfish.
She's gone straight round them. She's loving this course. I think it's a little bit of a statement by Soph. She swam fantastically in the opening swim, and I think she's loving the technicality, this descent. She's such a magnificent bike handler. She's going to like the formation of this final with Cassandra Beaugrand and the others coming across to this group in the final. I think she'll be a big player because
interested in how this is all closed up.
Yeah,
we're now back at a group of 5 essentially.
She did it all, and by being aggressive out of that transition, post that swim, working the uphill, attacking this descent, and close the gap rapidly, because Katie and Rachel really pushed that opening climb, and Sophie Corbell stayed pressure on for a full lap and was able to close the gap.
That's right. She looked the least comfortable of the top 4 at one point on the run, and then has come out on the bike and has decided that if
Spivey's living a little bit too big a gap than I would like, especially
Zane just tucks in. If you're going to tuck in behind someone that, like the frame of Katie Zafiris, if you're a smaller athlete, that's the spot to be. And the 2 Italians at the top of the hill, as they start to fight it out at the front, could be in danger of being eliminated next.
It's going to be very, very tight because Sophie Corbell's just put the hammer down. Taylor Spivey much better now, able to use that flat section. She needs to stay close. She comes off that descent, Taylor. I don't think she feels comfortable. I watch her again on this descent, off that descent into that right-hander. I know Sophie seems to rip down that, as does Katie. But Taylor seems to leave a little bit of a gap, and I'm not sure if that's happening as they climb the hill or if it's happening on the descent. We'll see on this next section.
So of all those in the top 5 who'll sprint it out maybe for a short shoot, Katie Zafiris will know. She's wearing the red jersey for a reason. She has the fastest run out there if she needs to make use of it. The 2019 world champion. It's been such a great journey for Katie Zafiris, the American. 5 years ago, finished 5th in the World Series, then 4th the next year, 3rd the year after that, 2nd the year after that, and then she wrapped it up in 2019 and really ticked that one off the bucket list, and she's really had to work for it. She also picked up the 100,000 as winner of Super League last year, and she wants to get back in that pink jersey and keep that run going.
And if you're going to be a world champion, you're going to find form. To find it on the even of Olympic Games is the time to find it, and I really think Katie Zafiris is the woman to beat in Tokyo. It'll take a monumental effort to dislodge her, and the American women at that Olympic distance racing at Olympic Games, if Katie was to do that and fulfill that dream of hers, a childhood dream, would carry on from the success of Gwen Jorgensen, who won in Rio, and now Katie, which I think she'll be very, very tough to beat. I just don't know how you're going to do it.
Well, it's no doubt that Super League has really refined the little things in an athlete like Katie Zafiris, who always had the power on the engine, but just getting those transitions dialed in, just keeping the little 1%ers working in your favour, as Serrani and Malozzi continue to share the work in this little group as they try to hang in as long as they can and avoid elimination. But when it comes to the running stats of this group of 5, who look like they're all going to come off the bike roughly in the same area, Katie Zafiris has the best run on paper from Klammer, Spivey, Caldwell, and then Zane. And Sophie Caldwell will know that. She needs to come out and in and out of transition in the best possible position.
Yes, and it's a shorter run than the last run because they finish at the top of the hill. So it's a dual hill run, but one descent, as the last one we had 2 downhill sections. And I think Rachel Klammer was better on that downhill running than than Sophie Caldwell. So, yeah, of course the numbers say that those athletes are going to win there. And I think once you're in that 5, I think this group's going to be quicker. This semi-final is going to be quicker. I think they're probably aware of that now. It's just been a much more powerful group up front to be able to set the tempo. They're racing for that selection of the time trial positions on the bike for the final tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think Sophie's trying to push this bike in order to cover herself for that run where she can cruise that run and still be in a good position to pick that time trial spot.
The 2 Italian juniors have still got about 30 seconds up their sleeve, so there's every chance that both of them will be in the final tomorrow.
Which would be magnificent. Well
Absolutely
done.
It would. But Zane, the 27-year-old Italian, is hanging on really, really well. Not just hanging on, she's part of this group, there's no doubt about it, as they come into transition for the final time with a lap and a half, so about 1.5 kilometres between one of these athletes and a short shoot for tomorrow.
Big transition again by Rachel Clammer. It's going to be very, very important.
What has Clammer got in this run?
This transition is everything.
Can she hold off Katie Zafiris?
Katie was good.
Clammer in first. She's out first. Colwell is going to join Zafiris with Spivey right behind. A little bit of a gap back to Zane. Not sure what's happened there. But Rachel Clammer, she knows what it takes to win a semi-final. We've seen that. Zane is safe. Just has to circle around to qualify for tomorrow. And the others will be looking to push the pace. But that pace increase has been sparked by Sophie Colwell.
Yeah.
And the others have been forced to respond.
Well, Rachel Clammer has done those transitions. She's purposely got off that bike in front. She's purposely got to that transition spot with aggression. And she's purposely pursuing this short shoot by winning this semi-final. And you can see her working that section there. She's going to work this uphill. And Katie Zafiris is aware of that. And now it's a question whether how much Katie wants this short shoot and what she's prepared to do, whether she's prepared to go in the red if Rachel Clammer's committed to that, getting that. And we'll see that now on the top of this climb.
So there's the time, 1:07.108, and they're going to get out in about a 1:12, which means they've probably got about 18 to 20 seconds at least. Oh, a bit of a poor transition there from Sereni. Sereni's crossed the line, though, in a 1:19 odd, so she's got about 11 seconds up her sleeve for this last lap.
Yeah.
She just needs to get through
11
transition one more time.
Yes, exactly.
One more time, so she can't lose that 11 seconds.
And Katie's going
as Clammer and Zafiris go after the short shoot.
Yes.
She's after her.
She'll have no idea how fast they're going at the front, but these two are fighting it out for the short shoot. And Zafiris, well, we don't know where she's going to make her move. You feel like she's got a move left in her. When is that going to be?
It's going to be very interesting because Rachel looked better. She's closed the gap here. Rachel needs to move this on this downhill, which she did in the last semi-final. But the imposing figure of Katie Zafiris moving up on you, you start to say, okay, she's caught me. Do I push again or do I wait for the uphill? If I was Rachel Clammer, I'd squeeze a little bit again on this downhill. She seems to move effectively on that downhill. Let the pace come along on that flat section and see what happens on this climb.
All right, so that slapping on the pavement behind you of Katie Zafiris, you'll be able to hear that right behind you, breathing down the neck. And that's what's happening right now to Rachel Clammer as they come down to the bottom of the mountain one last time.
Sophie Caldwell's had a fantastic run. She's run away from Taylor Spivey, whether Taylor's opted to switch off. But again, Sophie Caldwell loving this course. I think swim, bike and run, she's been very much in control for the entire race. And she's just off the pace of our 2 leaders.
And the pace, has to be said, is as hot as it's going to get in the semi-final, because we're watching these two battle it out for a big, big advantage as Sereni comes up the hill, as does Beatrice Malozzi, who's in front now. So Sereni had a bit of a problem in transition. That's lost her some time, and she could face elimination as they get through transition the last time, just depending on how fast these two are going. And they look like they've probably put 10 seconds into the Italians in this lap. We will find out. But it is a race to the finish between Rachel Clammer and Katie Zafiris, second and third in our championship race. And they have a very, very handy short shoot advantage on the line for tomorrow between the pair of them and who has the guts up this hill. We've never seen anyone be able to track down or even stay with Katie Zafiris up this hill. She has destroyed oppositions. They have a little chat to each other about it. What would they be saying?
I want this, you know? Well, I want it too. I need this short shoot as much as you do.
What do you say? Give it to me.
Yeah, Cassandra Bogran has it. They both know how powerful Cassandra is.
She's letting it go. Is that...
I wouldn't let it go. I don't think they are. They're probably saying good luck because it's very important to both these athletes. If they're chasing championship points, you cannot give a head start to Cassandra Bogran in a run in any way, shape, or form. In this course in particular, it's basically a good luck. May the best woman win. And
Zafiris took the front there by virtue of her positioning, just getting the inside line, and it's a question of whether Klammer can now respond. She doesn't look like she can. Just a little smile there.
She's been too nice.
Interested to see what... Yeah, we'll have to talk. We'll get Joe to talk to her after the race, but she might be saying, I've got nothing left in the legs.
Yeah.
And Katie Zafiris is doing what she always does, which is she just waved goodbye, Rachel Klammer, to Katie Zafiris.
Well, that says it all. Katie Zafiris wanted that short shoot. She made sure she got it. She's committed to it, and that says what she's here to do.
Well, Cassandra Bogran threw down the gauntlet in semi-final A, and Katie Zafiris has returned fire in semi-final B and left nothing out there on that final sprint. Just to remind everyone just how good she is up that hill. She will take the short shoot and the win in semi-final B from Rachel Klammer, who has come back from a almost debilitating injury earlier in the week.
More than 2 minutes faster, that semi-final.
No, that was Angie Olmo's time of 38.18. Sophie Colwell comes in. It was a 36.37 for Cassandra Bogran, so it's significantly faster.
Yeah, 30 seconds quicker.
So that is a big, big gap. Spivey comes across, and so does Ilaria Zane, who smiles knowing that she has done enough to make it into the final tomorrow. Guaranteed championship points for Ilaria Zane, Taylor Spivey, Sophie Colwell, Katie Zafiris, and for Rachel Klammer. A good hit out too for those athletes. 38.18 is the mark for sixth position, and it's going to be well under that. Sereni has been eliminated.
Look at that.
And Beatrice Milozzi, the world junior champion, will be the first junior to take part in a championship final in Super League Triathlon. Congratulations to Beatrice Milozzi after racing already today once. She will be the first to take advantage of the pathway we have introduced. How good is that, Macca?
That's amazing. What an amazing performance in that calibre of field, and to come off, as you said, a race in the morning, to be the only athlete in that field to come off that race and be so close. What a talent. Junior world champion says it all.